Welcome to True Secrets of Life TV show. My name is Ana Lennyr. I'm a family relationship and anti-depression expert, and I am your host today to discuss something very, very important in preventing and overcoming heartbreak, anxiety, and depression. And that is the smart compass of a life without suffering. In the first part of the show, I am going to show you exactly what this smart compass is. And in the second part of the show, I'm going to show you how to use it so you will never end up in heartbreak, anxiety, or depression. First, think about this smart compass of a life without suffering is that it's the same compass that we're building to live in suffering, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is disseminate exactly how this is going. There are 4 pillars of this compass. It's very similar to our compass of north, south, east, and west, except this one is a smart one. And the first pillar to start is the blue pillar. We call this the water pillar, and it usually develops in children up to the age of 7, where creativity and joyfulness and happiness arises, because these are little creatures who are being protected by their parents and they have nothing to worry about. This particular pillar, the water pillar, is very connected to emotions and to freedom and how protected a child feels or how rejected or abandoned the child feels. Needless to say that these feelings of rejection, abandonment, they are not necessarily what happens to that child. It's how the child perceives the world at that level. The water pillar is where happiness occurs, is where creativity occurs, is where inspiration lies. When there are no burdens on our shoulders over and over again to destroy that or to put that aside because we don't have time to paint something or to follow our purpose in life, as we have duties as adults that need our attention. So this first pillar in the smart compass of a life without suffering is extremely important, as some of us, like me, who was in depression for 27 years of my life, I had to go back to it and find it because I didn't know where it was. I didn't know how to get it, how to acquire it, how to find it, how to just stay with my feet in a lake or in the ocean and just sit there and wonder how my senses take in the water. I was too busy suffering, too busy doing to reject the fact that I was hurt. And a lot of us have done that. To deny the fact that we were hurt, we kept busy all the time. The second pillar of a smart compass of a life without suffering, we call it the red pillar or the fire pillar. And it's where energy comes in. The pillar that develops with teenagers at puberty, right? When there is that fire in them, it's like, what am I supposed to do? And sometimes even comes with a little bit of anger because they don't know what they're supposed to do in life. Not yet. They're too young. But this pillar is very important because without energy, without passion, we cannot move forward in life. This pillar gives us that level of energy, that fuel of life to do something, not to just sit and wait for inspiration to come. Now that inspiration has come from the water pillar, now the fire pillar is putting that into action. I want to make a beautiful painting. It is in my head. Now I just have to take the brush and the paper and draw it. That kind of energy, that kind of passion for what you like and what you're supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, when we don't know what we like, it's very, very difficult to get into that passion. And a lot of children that suffer from depression since a very young age, who feel burdened by emotional wounds, they don't know what they're supposed to do. And that passion never arises for them. And they get lost. Lost without direction, lost without purpose in life. Because there is nothing to fuel their life. There is no inspiration, no joy, no happiness, no creativity that tells them, yes, you should do something about this. And you should apply this in your life. So this pillar, as it shows up in teenagers and during puberty, it shows us exactly if a child is already depressed or not. Because if the only passion for the child is sitting in front of video games, or just watching movies, or just reading and learning, even that, without no interest in socializing, it tells us exactly how they hide in life later on, and then they might suffer from depression, and we need to take action right now before it is too late. The third pillar, I call it the silver pillar or the air pillar. And this is very amazing because, as you have noticed, this pillar goes to an upper level. And without that fire, that energy, that passion from the fire pillar, it cannot go up. That's why it's very, very, very important that we understand that it needs to go up. And up means independence, and means confidence, and means freedom. And this usually happens with young adults between the ages of 17 and 20-something. And they are the ones who have everything in their hand, everything at their disposal, all the choices that later on, they get less. There are a lot less choices after that as you become more and more into the adulthood life. And it's very important for them to experience the sense of freedom, to experience the sense of a million ideas, of being visionaries, so they know at this point on which direction to go. And it's okay if they're on the wrong direction, because now they have time to reassess, to redirect. Exactly like the air. The air is blowing one side or another. And in the second minute it stops and reconsiders. And then it changes directions. Right? So this pillar is very important because here confidence arises. Here freedom arises. Here purpose is put into doing. We had the water, the creativity, the inspiration. We had the fire and the passion and the fuel of life. And now it's time to go up with it and do something about it, to level up, to go into the adult world. Not where there are burdens, when there are choices. There's still choices at this level. So this pillar of life is very important, and if a child had suffered from depression or anxiety from a young age, they have a huge problem going up. Because they're gonna base all their information about life on what's not possible. What's not possible as a choice instead of all the choices are possible. It is time to pick one, and it's okay if you're wrong, pick another one during the road. So this particular pillar is very important, and a lot of times people have to go back to it and boss up multiple times in life to understand that you can change your career at the age of 70. And that's okay. Because if you haven't experienced everything, you lived for nothing. The last pillar in this compass of life without suffering. And remember, it's the same compass for a life with suffering. I call it the golden pillar or the earth. Here is when the adult stabilizes in life. Here is when we already go on a journey. We choose what we want to be. We choose who we want to be. We get the family. We have children. We are now mature adults and don't have all the choices that the heir had. We still have plenty of choices, but now there are responsibilities. If by this level of earth, by this level of mature adulthood, results don't happen. People do not get any kind of results from all of this process of creativity, passion, doing, because they did not know how to do it, or because they didn't have an action plan, or because they were not lucky enough, right? They've been stranded in all kind of problems in life. They become extremely discouraged. And they are losing that fire to restart over and over again this particular cycle, this smart compass of life, and to restart it with more and more success. Because if failure occurs at this level, at this golden earth level, they believe that this entire cycle is failure. And this is why only young adults after the age of 26 are able to overcome anxiety and depression themselves. Until the age of 26, the parent can help them do that. Because it's when this cycle ends, around the age of 26, and as they saw no results, they can choose to repeat it to an expected failure again, or they can choose to repeat it with new knowledge and new approaches that can pull them out of anxiety and depression. So now that we discussed about these 4 pillars on how it works, it is a continuous cycle, and it goes exactly in this direction that I showed you. And if we're missing that direction, or there is one pillar that we don't acknowledge its own values and gifts, we are going to have a problem in life. And in the second part of the show, I'm going to show you exactly how we can avoid these problems. Stay with me.
What's wrong with me? I can't even smile anymore.
This depression takes over my entire life. My child also shows signs of depression.
Anxiety is so debilitating.
I'm separated for over a year. Why do I still feel heartbroken?
I'm stuck in a rut, and I don't know how to get out.
What should I do? How can I escape this anxiety?
I want love in my life, but I'm so afraid of another betrayal.
Visit TrueSecretsOfLife.com to overcome anxiety and depression.
Visit TrueSecretsOfLife.com to overcome heartbreak.
Visit TrueSecretsOfLife.com to never be hurt again.
Visit TrueSecretsOfLife.com to build amazing family relationships.
Visit TrueSecretsOfLife.com to live the life you deserve and desire.
Visit TrueSecretsOfLife.com to change your life.
Welcome back to the show. Today's topic, the smart compass of a life without suffering, which let's make certain that we understand it's the same compass, okay, with a life with suffering. We just have to make that distinction for ourselves, for our own life, to know how to navigate this properly. So now that we put all this together, right, we understand that there are 4 pillars. Let's use a real example, a real life example. Let's say that you have an idea. It starts all with a water pillar, right? The idea. Let's say that you have in your head a picture of a gorgeous table. I wish that this table would be out there, but there's nobody that ever has built it. Okay, it's a magnificent table. That is the idea. If you stop here with the idea, it's just a lost dream. That is it. There is nothing else to it, right? But what if you have the drive to put that idea in practice? Man, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get some wood and I'm going to start to see how I can apply this idea. I'm going to put it into action. I have the fire, the passion in me, the fire pillar, to put it all into action. It's my idea. I think it's phenomenal and I am ready to go for it. Right? And you go out there, you have a passion, you're getting everything you need, and if you don't continue, you just ended up with a pile of wood in your house. So now you're going into the doing. You're actually going to spend time with the air pillar to build this magnificent table. And it's gonna go through some failures. Yes, of course. This doesn't fit. This doesn't fit. I have to cut it here. I have to do it like this. Okay? But because you have that passion and you're ready to apply that passion to your idea, you can easily do the doing. And even if it looks like, hard, it doesn't matter because it is your passion. It is your fire inside you. It is your idea, right? So now that you have built this amazing table, what you going to do with it? Well, you might want to sell it. You might want to put it out there on the market, okay? If you just keep it in your house, you just have the result and the accomplishment that I have an amazing table. But what if you want to make more of it? What if you want to make money off it? Okay, so now you're going to the earth pillar to go through that hurdles of putting something on the market, selling it, and getting the results. And the first money that you're making from selling that table, it's going to transform you. It's going to raise your confidence so high. It doesn't mean there won't be hurdles. It doesn't mean there won't be failures along the way, right? But now you have grown because you got the results. And as you grow, you might have another idea. Man, I have an idea for a great closet. Nobody has invented this closet, okay? So here we go again, right? And this cycle continues and continues and continues. And it only transforms us and makes us grow. Because if it transforms us in being afraid of failures, that is not the right path we're taking. So let's analyze some more about some mistakes that we can easily make on this path. The first mistake is to take a shortcut. To take the shortcut between water and earth. We all want to get from 0 to 100. Okay? We all want to run a marathon, even if we don't want to run to train for it, but we want to just be the first one to win it, right? But that's not going to happen, right? So here we need to separate between dream and reality. In reality, we have to work for it. In reality, you go from 0 to 1, 2, 3, all the way to 100, not from 0 to 100. Because even if you go from 0 to 100, that is not a stable foundation. You haven't learned anything. And when you have to repeat it, you won't be able to, right? Because the lessons are not there. They were not made any kind of mistakes to learn those lessons. So the foundation is correct. Mistake that people do is they want to go from the water to earth. And in real life, that means I want to just, not go for all this drive of figuring out what I want and who I am and all these relationships. I just want to get married, have kids. And these kind of things are a sign of deep, deep depression because they consider that as an escape from their own pain, right? So in my job, many people is like, they just got out of high school, got married, had kids, and then they wonder why they're depressed, why they have crooked marriages, why they don't have a career, why nothing works in their life, because they went to take the shortcut. They thought that a partner is going to save them, that kids and house and the picket fence is going to save them from the emotional wounding they had, from the emotional balance they had, from the fact that they didn't know how to solve it, right? These are all save me. Here's why we have this smart compass of a life without suffering, because here you have to understand that the only thing we can do is save ourselves. This is our cycle of life. Each individual has this cycle of life. In business, in emotions, in career, in family, in everything. In growing, in expanding. And this is why we have to make sure that we don't mess it up. So let's talk about what happens between the water pillar and the fire. Water pillar and the fire pillar. There is a road for managing emotions. Here you go from full love of a child, right? Just unconditional love, happiness, joy, right? To passion, to I have a drive. I separate myself from the parents and people who protect me because sooner or later I'm going to be an adult, right? And passion sometimes comes with anger. Why does it come with anger? Anger is also a fuel of life if used properly. What does that mean? You have to ask yourself anytime when you're angry about something if you can fix the situation. If you can, do it. That's your passion. That's your fuel of life. Do it. Don't sit on it and let that fire burn you from the inside. If you cannot fix the situation, you need to drop it. People who cannot drop situations, they are attached to something, beliefs, people, codependency issues. They're attached to something a little bit too much and they didn't manage at this point of a road emotions properly. So here is how managing emotions and coming up with that anger at the fire pillar tells you exactly that you were a victim at the water pillar. You have a victimhood mentality. And nobody wants to say that I'm a victim or I have a victimhood mentality, but this is exactly what it tells you, that the emotions haven't been properly processed. One of the things that I do with my clients who are overcoming depression is going back to this water pillar to see which emotions, deep emotions, sometimes from childhood, they haven't been processed properly. That gave them that anger burst. Their fuel of fire spills over like a volcano, right? And you see these people that are really, really nice, and then, you say something that offends them, that triggers them, and then they explode, right? That is a sign of not being able to manage emotions properly at this level, between the water level and the fire level. And here you have either a victimhood position or you have an anger position. If on this road, the emotions, the mastering emotions, are not mastered properly, it's when anxiety happens. Because you see, you want to do something, you know that you gotta do something, but you turn around. You don't want to be angry, nor you want to be a victim. And you're hiding all these pillars of life. You're hiding. It's like, I don't want to express anger. I don't want to express victimhood. I'm hiding into anxiety. So anxiety is a self-defense mechanism that here on this piece of a road, between water pillar and fire pillar, the emotions haven't been processed properly. Now let's continue. What happens further down the road? To go to the air pillar, we need to master relationships with others. As these two pillars of water and fire was managing emotions with ourselves, managing the relationship with us, the second part is managing the relationship with others. So here you have people turning around, that they don't know how to socialize, they don't understand the 4 types of men, 4 types of women, and at some point in their life, they even become extremely disrespectful, specifically towards their parents, because it's like, you were not able to help me, go away, I'm not going to take your advice anymore. But if people are not succeeding to go up this pillar, addiction happens. Why? You have water and fire in the same heart, and you can't manage it. These two elements do not mix. Your fire cannot grow without air. So here is where addiction happens. Let's continue to the next step of the road. Here we're talking about mastering your mind. Failure can occur if we are not knowing how to master our mind. There will be failures. There will be blocks in the road. There will be all of the time. And there will be here people who don't know how to take the actual road because they don't have a grip on their mind skills. And they can easily fall into traps. And there are 17 mind traps that keep people in suffering. We have these in our programs and we teach extensively about them. But here is where somebody can feel lost and alone on this road, just because they do not know how to master their mind skills. And they have great vision, and they have great ideas, and they're amazing people, but they can't get to the results they need. So now, let's put it all together. Because you might remember this road, you might not. But it's simple to acknowledge in one word: smart. Smart starts with S. See into the emotions. See into your heart. See the pain you need to fix. C. M stands for manage it. Manage these emotions. Have the fire inside you and the passion to move forward. A. Assess. Assess the relationship with others. Assess and reassess everything, including what you don't know, what your skills and strategies you do not have and you need to learn. Here is time to assess. R stands for results. Measure your results. Is this the result you want or you want more? Where on this road, on this compass, you have slipped. You didn't have all the information you required. If there is anything that has to do with fear, anxiety, depression, you were on the wrong path. There were things you did not know. Maybe you even tried to jump from 0 to 100, which is the 100% definition of depression. And T stands for transform, but not transform to be lost and alone and anxious and in addiction. Transform into growing and expanding. And each time you go back to this cycle, you can grow more. So this is what the smart compass of a life without suffering is. Thank you for watching our show. I will see you.
Today, many young adults struggle with anger, anxiety, and signs of depression, and they are confused about what's happening to them. On the other side, parents are desperate, realizing that meds and therapy are not going to help their child achieve success in life. Visit TrueParentingSecrets.com to discover accelerated strategies to help your young adult overcome anger, anxiety, and depression. Regain your child's trust and help them unleash their true potential. Visit TrueParentingSecrets.com. Set your child up for success in life.
It was the best decision I ever made for me and for my child.
Visit TrueParentingSecrets.com.